Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Repitch. I'm your host David with my co-host Richard.
Hey guys.
And today, you want to let them know what we're doing today?
We're talking about Morbin. It's Morbin time, guys. We're talking about Morbius.
Yes, released back in April 2022 this year. Morbius. Yeah. What are you? First thoughts? Just general thoughts.
David, this movie it's bad.
It was bad.
David. Okay, I don't think it wasn't unbearable. No, it was unbearable. What? I mean, what did you think? I need to formulate I had a rough weekend, and this weekend this movie did not make it any better.
Well, for me, just right off the bat, I think yes, it was a bad movie. Just point blank. For me, it was a lot of the writing and the editing. I think it was just it didn't do it for me. I will say, acting was not as bad as I thought it would be.
You're a liar.
No.
So there's only one good actor in this movie, but we'll talk about that.
But other than that, before we get into it, just for the people that don't know what this movie's about,
no one needs to know what this movie's about. But I'm sorry, I'm bringing the sass up to 11 today.
yes, as
What's
always.
this movie about, David?
This movie tagline is: biochemist Michael Morbius tries to cure himself of a rare blood disease, but he inadvertently infects himself with a form of vampirism instead.
What a dumbass.
So, I mean, for those that don't know, Morbius is a Marvel comic character. First coming out in the Spider-Man comics as a villain for Spider-Man and Blade. And for some reason, Sony decided that, hey, let's make this guy into this. I mean, in the comics, he ends up becoming this anti-hero. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they shouldn't have done this in the movie.
Yeah, I know. I one of the reasons why I wanted to pick this movie, Dave, because I know it bombed in the box office. Like, what did it get? I know it made barely its money back.
It did, surprisingly. It didn't do as bad as you'd think because of the budget size. But let me give you the numbers.
Okay,
opening weekend, it made 39 mil.
Okay, that's not that great for a comic book movie. Okay.
Domestic box office was 73 mil. International box office was at 88 mil. Grand total of about 162 mil.
But I wonder if that takes into account, because I know it didn't do so well, and it went crazy over the internet. And Sony Studios was like, "Yo, people like this. Let's re-release it out to theaters." And it bombed again.
That was the problem. But because of the budget size, which I'm surprised, I thought it was going to be a much higher budget, but it was only 75 mil.
But I'm not that surprised, because this movie, it felt like a 2000s Marvel movie, a bad 2000s Marvel movie made 22 years later. Okay, so at Repitch, we talk about the good, the bad, and the pitch. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the good. Definitely going to be the shortest section. I mean, what did you think was a good part about this movie, David?
I mean, a few of the actors I always enjoyed. Matt Smith is always great, and then
clearly the best actor.
Jared Harris. Even though Jared Harris is small, I'm just a fan of Jared Harris. He played the doctor,
right? What is he in again?
He's in Chernobyl, The Crown.
Oh, he was.
I think most notably he was in Mad Men. But he's had a lot of roles. See. He's also in movies. He played Moriarty in the Sherlock Holmes movies.
He did. Oh, that's why I know him. Okay, yeah. That's exactly why I know him. Okay, that's interesting.
Yep. Those were some of the stuff, and I thought, they made Morbius look like Morbius.
They did. I mean, I really don't want to get into batteries, but that's something that's interesting. Yeah. But one good thing about this is, like, they kind of stayed faithful to the comic book. Like, his order, like, he does in the comics, he does do the experiment on the ship.
Yes, but I will actually. I have something against that, but sorry.
Okay. Oh yeah. So I mean, I guess if you want to be accurate, and like you say, good actors. Matt Smith, I love Doctor Who, the 11th Doctor. He's great. And like at a certain point, you saw more Matt Smith than Jared Leto. Because I think at a certain point they realized, like, yo, Jared Leto, he is he is a black hole. Let's just focus on Matt Smith. And I seriously think Matt Smith, he's a good actor. He deserves greater stuff.
I do think he's,
and like, yeah, and he brings a charm to this movie. Like, I think he knows how stupid this movie is.
Yeah, I think Matt Smith is really good with that, like being able to bring that charm into all his roles.
Oh yeah.
I'm kind of like, but I'm afraid like he's starting to get very typecasted. He plays a lot of these types of roles where he's that friendly bad guy type of thing, where he's just kind of like conniving almost. I mean, he's great with it. He's good with it.
But he has range. He definitely has range. You've seen it in however many seasons of Doctor Who.
Exactly. I mean, like
it breaks my heart.
Playing Doctor Who, I mean, that's a huge role to take on, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So for him to step out and like do something completely, opposite of Doctor Who, I think he's been doing so well with his roles in movies and TV shows.
Yeah. I mean, that's honestly all I have for Good David. Should we just, I want to just dig my teeth in. We talked 5 minutes about, okay, I want to spend the next 10 minutes just roasting the shiz out of this terrible movie. So are you ready, David?
Yes.
I am. Yeah.
Give us your first take.
So, okay, his whole motivation for this movie is like he has this rare blood disease. His Matt Smith, I don't know any of their names. I don't care. They're all forgettable. Matt Smith also has disease. He wants to save his friend. Quote, like, I understand your motivation is to save your life. That's a good motivation. But like, if that's it, I'm like, bro, you've lived a long life. You won a Nobel Prize, but like you didn't receive it because you're a cocky little. But like what I'm trying to say is, what if he had a motivation? It's like, hey, like, this doctor that I work with, I love her. I really want to like, live a long life with her. Like, oh, I want to dance with her. I don't want to be on these crutches anymore. Like, I just want to run in the park. Some kind of motivation. Then I just want to survive and live. I'm not living. I'm like, bro, you've been living pretty good and fine. You have a great lab. You have a lot of rewards. Like, you're living life better than most people in the world. You know what I mean?
I get what you're saying on that. But I guess
like,
to me,
what's his motivation?
I mean,
that's what
for me though. I feel like that motivation of trying to cure this life or death situation, helping his friend. I thought it was sufficient for this movie.
But like, what I mean by that is like he takes a huge risk. Like, let me do something super illegal, super experimental, out and see. Why? I mean, like, it sounds like, there's no cure, but like, if you get blood transfusions, you'll survive, you'll live. Like, it's not easy, it's not like fun, but like, you will live. And I'm like, bro, take your time. And like, that goes on to my next issue of like, in this world, vampires exist, or like the idea of a vampire exists. Like, like they call him a vampire right away. And like, if you are this smart, chemistry, like, would you never think like, hey, is there a possibility this will mutate my genes? Like, of course no one's gonna think to that extent, but like, you're not gonna, like, a mouse is the only, like, that is a lot of steps. Like, you're not gonna go on a pig, no human, like, you're really gonna be the first human trial. Like, what is your urgency to do this now?
On top of that, how did he get all those bats into his office?
I know, right? Like, in the end scene, like, how Morbius is about to lose to Matt Smith. What does he do? He summons all the bats from New York.
Oh my gosh,
City.
that was like, he does this like Kamehameha with bats.
It's like thousands, like hundreds and thousands of bats, and I'm like, are you in Gotham City? Like, where are all these bats coming? It's clearly New York City. I'm pretty sure they mentioned it a couple of times. And I'm like, where?
He's the literal Batman.
Yeah, and like I said before, it felt like a bad Marvel movie where, when they're starting out, like, oh, Iron Man, who's his bad guy? A evil Iron Man. Ant-Man, who's his bad guy? An evil Ant-Man. Who's Black Panther's bad guy? An evil Black Panther. Like, it's just bad writing, and it's just like, God.
On top of that, of course, like in the comics, Morbius is always, he's always in that vampire form. Like, that's one of his curses. That's what he's dealt with. But of course, it's Jared Leto. You got to give him his face time. He can't be like that.
David, And like like the whole thing's like he flips faces back
Yeah,
and forth.
it's like only when he's angry or like he's trying something.
It shows any kind of emotion. It's super distracting. Like I understand you're paying the. It's one of the reasons why Iron Man is not always wearing the helmet. You see the inside of Tony Stark's face.
Right.
Captain America's not wearing the helmet. He's always like for some explicit reason he's always taking the helmet off for some reason. And like the same, you're paying this man to be. I'm like, because like. One of my greatest joys now is watching these bad movies with my wife because I don't have to suffer alone. And the whole time she's like, when she first saw the face, she's like, ew, why did they look like Jim Carrey's Grinch, the Whoville people? And I'm like, yo, they do. And legit, what it looks like, a bad iteration of Buffy the Vampires when the people turn to vampires.
Right.
That's exactly what it looks like. And I'm like, but not convincing. It's super distracting.
Yes. And, talking about paying these actors, giving them the screen time. Oh, yeah. Let me break down the screen times for you, for all the actors.
I'm so curious. Okay.
All right. So let's start off with Jared Leto, of course.
Okay. This movie was under 2 hours, which I appreciated, but it still felt like forever.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's actually pretty, what is it, hour 45 minutes or something like that?
Yeah, hour 45, we'll say. Yeah.
So out of that hour and 45, Jared Leto, of course, he's the star, hour and 15 minutes, right? I mean, you would expect that.
Way too much screen time.
But I mean, yeah.
He wasn't there for that long.
Exactly.
He was so forgettable in it, but go on.
Okay. Now, the next highest, the drop-off is crazy. Matt Smith, 33 minutes.
Unforgettable 33 minutes.
And now the next one down is the other doctor, Adria Arjona, or Martine.
I felt so bad for her. But go on.
27 minutes.
She's in it. That's a lot longer than I thought. I couldn't.
And
I'm like
this one bothered me a lot because Tyrese Gibson, I feel like he didn't have enough time to really.
Him and his partner, pointless.
At this point in that movie, were very pointless, and I feel like that was kind of unfair. Yeah, very unfair for them because I think Tyrese, in those small moments, he's really branched out of his normal roles. He actually took this like a bit serious, and I thought he was gonna do a good job. But here's the time screen time for those two guys. Tyrese Gibson is 10 minutes.
Really?
10 minutes. And his partner, right? 11 minutes. So he has more screen time than Tyrese Gibson.
Hopefully he gets paid for it. Like, bro, but like I felt so bad. But could we talk about the female doctor? What's her name? The actress?
The actress is Adria Arjona.
Okay, so
she has pretty hefty resume. If you didn't know, she was in Pacific Rim Uprising, Triple Frontier, our favorite, Six Under, Sweet Girl, Narcos, True Detective, Person of Interest, and she's recently been in Andor.
Oh, interesting. So she's in a pretty good TV shows. Yep. All right, that's good. I mean, she wasn't a bad actress. Again, it's my motivation of like, bro, why are you risking your career for this man? Like showing no interest. Like literally, we see him like, oh, she's like the one that keeps us in check. But bro, you're gonna go on a boat illegally for him? Like, if you told me like they're trying to have this relationship, like okay, like I see that. Like she's, but there's nothing really like that. And like when she dies in the end, and she's like, what? Like her last thing that she does is like, oh my gosh, Matt Smith killed me. What do? I'm gonna bite the lip off of this guy, and maybe I get transformed. It was like that was done on purpose. And she ends up being a vampire, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is I don't this why.
I was like, I had to find out who wrote this movie.
What monster wrote this movie?
So it was a tag team of Matt Sazama and Burke Sharpless. I don't know if I'm saying those names right, but
they don't deserve to be pronounced properly. But go on, David.
So this is what their resume is. One of their first movies they've done is Dracula Untold, and then
oh my gosh,
The Last Witch Hunter, Gods of Egypt, the newer Power Rangers movie, and then now it's Morbius. And the kicker, they wrote the new Madam Web movie that's coming out.
Oh, it's gonna be terrible. There's no way in hell it's gonna be good, David. This movie has like when I saw this movie, I'm like, yo, have you seen Dracula Untold?
No, I actually haven't. That's one of the movies I've wanted to see, but
Literally, it starts out with this guy in a cave with bats. Same thing as this movie. I swear, I'm like, yo, this is very. Like, I wonder if they watched it. And you told me it's the same writer.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
this is almost the same exact plot, just different time period.
I didn't see Dracula Untold, but as soon as I saw that on their list, I was like, oh, they definitely. That's why they got hired for this.
You know, like that's supposed to be the whole like DC scary universe, right? With the mummy.
Right. Yeah, that didn't go well.
No, it didn't.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
So just some other, real big issues that I had with this.
Yeah. But
like we've been saying, this writing, the story was just so convoluted. It was all over the place. Just like from the beginning, for some reason, they show you him in the cave in Costa Rica, and then they go back to his past, and they come back to like the present, to like when he's
bad writing. Bad writing. I'm like, it's like a weird. Yeah, go on, David.
And there's a few things that I found out that really weren't. They kind of like strayed off from some of the comics. One of his biggest weakness in the comics is that he is affected by sunlight. But in this one, for some reason, they just decided not to give him that. And his weakness in this is pretty much just he needs blood. He needs to have blood. And they try to make it give him this like hero feel by not drinking human blood, because he invented this artificial blood.
Which is so much more fascinating than anything else he created. I'm like, what, you created blood that anyone can use and to save lives? I mean, like, speaking of which, David, keep going. Yep.
And then, and I thought, for me, they really stripped away that villain aspect. And I wanted to see a bit more of that come out. But of course, they need a hero for their movies.
Speaking of which, I need a little break right now because this movie was so bad. I need to fill me up.
Where did you get that?
I'm sorry for our viewers on Spotify or wherever you're listening from. YouTube. I got this IV drip bag from like Amazon. I'm like, yo, I gotta just drink this throughout the whole session because like I've never seen so many clips of a man just drinking from IV. Like you said, like really, that's your only heroic thing. Like, I'm choosing not to eat humans, which you did. You kill a whole boat full of people, like, which you brushed aside. I'm like, just to drink from IV. Yeah,
and their takeaway from that, or like the way they brushed it off, is like, oh, they're just a bunch of a-holes anyways. Like they're just bad guys anyways.
Oh my gosh, so that's such a. Yeah.
And on top of that, one of the things that bothered me the most was this whole after credit part. Just made no sense at all.
My gosh.
Like
the after credit. Can you tell us? Oh,
well, there's like two parts to this for some reason,
which is so weird. But okay, the first after credit. What happened?
So, the first one that happens is Michael Keaton, Adrian Toomes from Spider-Man: Homecoming, who played the Vulture. He just shows up in this New York prison out of nowhere. Like, but I mean, granted, it's supposed to be the Spider-Man No Way Home, that whole thing where like Venom transforms
portals and people. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, because in reality, this movie was supposed to come out right after Venom and before No Way Home and all that. But at that point, if you were gonna release it so much for later, you should have just kept that out. Like, take that out. But anyways, second part of the after credit scene.
Wait, so before you go to second, the first one, and you see on like quickly, like, oh, this man showed up in prison and he's gonna get acquitted and like let go freely. I'm like, first of all, if a man showed up in your prison, if you have no idea, wow, you will not just let him go.
On top of that, he doesn't even question it. He's just like, oh, I'm just in another
now.
Yeah. I hope they have better food here.
And like, what does he do? Like, there's no cliffhanger. What happens in the last end credits scene?
Well, let me tell you this. For some reason, Morbius decides to drive.
Because they spent too much money on CGI already, on those thousands of bat that he kamehameha away at people. But
he decides to drive into like the mountains somewhere, and he's there.
Yeah.
And then you hear somebody coming, and it's the Vulture in all his gear. Which, how did he get
exact same? Exactly. I'm like, wait, you have the same people working from you. Like the only reason you have that guilt is from like the war from Marvel and like previous stuff. Like that didn't happen in this universe. I'm like, just
and on top of that, like one of the things that bothered me was that after Venom, one of the things that happened to him is he went to the MCU, but then he was taken back, right?
Yeah.
Apparently not the Vulture.
and like, oh my God, David, like Michael Keaton, like he's a good actor. I hope he got paid.
He must have got paid huge money because his total screen time was 2 minutes.
That's a lot longer than I thought he'd be. And like, what is that? How does it end? What does he say to Morbius?
Oh, like we should team up, or like we could do some real good.
What does that mean? Like, I'm assuming they're trying to do like a Sinister Six kind of thing, but like, why? Who are you gonna versus Venom?
I mean, you just spent the entire movie making Morbius into a good guy, and you're gonna throw him into this bad guy group, like
is he gonna be a good guy with Vulture? I'm like, what's going on? Like, where, like Sony, like, I make a comment saying like DC, they're really like building the bridge as it goes, but these like Sony, they're not even in the water right now. They're in the parking lot trying to find a sea.
They're really. I see what Sony's doing. It almost reminds me of like what DC was initially going through, just like throwing random things out and hoping like it sticks.
But the DC has actual good stuff. Sony can't make it. Like, you know what? You know what will make a good film? Let's do an Aunt May movie. People are gonna want to watch that. Like, just terrible things.
I mean, I think with the issue with the Sony route right now is they're trying to do all these things without Spider-Man, and it just doesn't work. It can't. Yeah. I think that's the biggest problem. You can't have Venom without Spider-Man, and I think even with Morbius, you can't.
We'll see.
Do him without Blade or Spider-Man, in my opinion.
Okay. I'm going to try to prove you wrong with my pitch, but we'll see.
Okay. All right.
But what else? The slow-mo, like the action was super, again, it felt like a 90s, like a Daredevil, like just really bad, just like really, like again, the same, like Morbius doesn't want to share this cure with Matt Smith. It's like, oh, I don't know, I don't want you to have the same disease as me. I'm like, bro, then fix the disease. Like, it's literally the same issue they had in Amazing Spider-Man 2. when Spider-Man doesn't want to share his blood with his best friend because like, oh, it's not gonna cure you. I'm like, bro, like this might not work for you. I'm just like, and Jared Leto, I've said this before. I don't like him. I hate him. I don't think he's a good actor. We talked about him in the Method Actor episode. I know that I've heard that in filming this movie, he refused to get off the crutches when he was not being filmed, so he could be a method actor. Ooh. And like, yeah, that's his character. So he could stay in character. And he was honestly so bad in this. I hated him.
I will say, for me, compared to what I've seen him do in the past, not too bad. Not too bad.
David, that's not a highest standard.
No, it's not. So, but hey, if I'm trying to watch this movie, and hey, I gotta get some light out of it, right?
I think they made a terrible like. I feel like the only thing, like, oh, he looks like Morbius is long hair. That's literally the only thing. Like, oh, Morbius has long hair. Morbius. I mean, like Jared Leto has long hair and he's like attractive, so let's make him.
But I will say he does have this like weird. Why is he speaking so like slowly and softly, and like he was like, I don't know, he just didn't. Some of the parts were just kind of.
David, I don't know. This guy is. I'm just waiting for him to be like go to the Ezra Miller route where he like just does something really like I don't want to say so bad, but like yeah, I don't.
Let's not wish that on somebody.
Yeah, no, he is terrible in this. There's literally the only thing that I liked about this was Doctor Who. Was not Doctor Who. Was Matt Smith. And like one part, like the other doctor was like, "What's your pain 1 through 10?" He's like 11. I'm like, "Ha, that's hilarious." That's like the only part I liked about this movie because he was the 11th Doctor, literally. Oh my gosh! Anything else that bugs you about this movie, David?
No, I think what really bugged me was just seeing this character without its counterparts. That's a huge issue for me.
Yeah, I'm like, at this point, like even like the origin story, I'm like, I don't know if you need origin stories anymore, especially with Dracula, like a vampire. You know what's his origin story? Like, seeing a well-established character would have been much more interesting.
Yeah, and
I feel like
I think with Morbius, his origin story is not interesting. It's literally just some guy injecting himself and he becomes a vampire, and it's
right,
not.
You ready? No, I know it's this movie was bad.
Yep. Yep.
Are you ready for my pitch?
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Before I go on, I need another bag. I'm just gonna
just replenish yourself. It's been 6 hours, right? I mean,
4 hours now. I'm slowly becoming more of a monster. Oh, you know how he makes two vials? Like, oh, one to kill myself in the end, one to kill Matt Smith. He defeats Matt Smith. He injects him. Mm. We never see the second vial. Mm. He doesn't even fight for himself. Like, oh, I should do this. Like, no, I could do more good. No, we never see that again. Bad writing. Yep. Bad directing, bad writing, bad acting. Terrible all around.
I know.
All right, let's go to my pitch, Dave.
I know the creators of this character are rolling right now. I hope they don't like this.
All right. You ready for my pitch, David?
Yes, please.
All right. So I'm gonna do the impossible and keep this into Sony. No Spider-Man.
No Spider-Man, but in the same universe. Like, is it
same universe? Same character, not same characters, but like same Sony characters they have.
Gotcha. So like, it's still with that potential. Like, he could meet Venom or somebody. Like things.
Yeah,
like that.
Whatever. Yeah. I'm doing the first movie and I don't give a crap.
Gotcha.
So I want this movie to be like Ocean's 11 and Halloween.
Okay.
Which is the weirdest thing. But I'll show you. The tagline is a bunch of C-list supervillains are en route to find the fountain of life, but run into a monster in the dark. Mm-hmm. It's not bad. Yeah. All right. So casting. So this is crazy. Okay.
All right.
So let me go down. So Black Cat, I'm not really
Black
set
Cat,
on this. Black Cat's in this. All She's like the main female protagonist in this. Black Cat. I wanted to do like what's her name? She was Miss Poppins, married to John Krasinski.
Oh, Emily Blunt.
But like, she's too. I don't know if that. I'm leaning towards Emma Stone, but I can easily be swayed. So I'm gonna be like an Emma Stone, a young kind of flirty, happy kind of person. That's who Black Cat is. Unless she's mad, but yeah, Black Cat's in this. Tombstone, another Spider-Man villain, kind of B-list, maybe C-list.
All right.
Could be played by any Italian guy. Doesn't matter. Another two villains, the Big Wheel and Stiltman. Literally what they do. Big Wheel drives a big wheel, and Stiltman is a man on stilts. I want this to be, oh shoot, who are the two guys in 21 Jump Street?
Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill.
Yeah, exactly. I want those two guys to be that. I want this movie to have that comedy and like horror at the same time. Then we see other super villains like the Spot, the Beetle, and the Ringer. And like a werewolf, I want this to have like kind of almost like a Suicide Squad kind of feel to it.
Right. I mean, that's what I'm getting right now from you.
Yeah. Okay.
Let me. So, can I ask you, director? Because this feels like a Sam Raimi film.
Oh shoot! You know me way too well. Yo, Sam Raimi got this. Sam Raimi, y'all. I want this to be terrifying.
All right.
So Sam Raimi, and for what do you call it? Morbius, but this is a Morbius film. I was really thinking about Richard Madden, because like he's great.
Yeah, okay.
But he's in the Eternals, right?
Eternals, yeah.
I'm like, he'd be really good in this. Then I was thinking like, maybe Idris Elba, because I love to see him in it. Ooh. But like, yeah, but I'm like, he's in the older side. Maybe someone younger. So I'm leaning towards Christopher Harrington, Jon Snow.
Kit Harington.
Is that his name?
Kit Harington.
I'm sorry. The name Kit Harington. Yes. So I want him to be my Morbius.
I mean, technically, he's also what is it? The Black Knight in MCU.
What do you mean?
He was in Eternals.
Oh, is he?
You remember him?
I didn't watch
Oh,
Eternals.
you didn't? Yeah. He's in Eternals.
Oh, Kate Harington's in the Eternals?
He's in Eternals. He plays Dane Whitman, who's also a character in the comics called the Black Knight.
Okay, sure. So Kate Harington's in it. I didn't know that, but yeah, that's my casting. Or oh man, John David Washington's pretty great too.
Oh, that would be an interesting one.
You know what? I'm gonna stick with John David Washington. Right. He's in that Christopher Nolan movie
Tenet,
that I didn't watch.
And then
Tenet,
Black or Klansman.
And you know who else I thought too?
Who's that?
Oscar Isaac, but like I don't know. He's in Marvel stuff. I wanted to put someone that's not in Marvel, but like okay, could be fully. I want to have Morbius be a complex character. So I think John David Washington would be great.
Okay.
All right. So basically, the first act. I'm gonna go quickly, David, because my IV drip. I only have 2 hours left. So it starts off a scene. A bunch of mobsters, thugs, whoever, are walking down this dark sewer system. There's like rumors like, yo, you heard these crazy things. Where's Tombstone taking us? What's his plan? We don't know. And slowly, all these mobsters are being taken out, being killed one by one. And we see the last mobster, like, what's going on? And we see him shooting out into the dark. And then flashes, we see John Washington as Morbius come and kill the last mobster. Next scene, we see Tombstone in this nice Italian restaurant. Black Cat is the first one to enter, and slowly all these C-list Spider-Man villains are coming in, and Black Cat is like, what is going on? Like, she is not a C-list villain. And then you see Tombstone coming. It's like, hey guys, I have a proposition for you. I want you guys to break in to Mr. Negative, another Spider-Man villain's safe, so we could get that money and we'll split it evenly. And they're like, okay, fine, whatever. So we go. So it's this group of C-list villains and a couple of mobsters, a couple of people coming along. They're going down to the sewers. And as they're going down, they slowly realize, like, yo, this is a lot more scarier and sketchier than they thought. They see a lot of dead bodies. They see the mobsters. And slowly, these villains and people are being picked off. And Black Cat interrogates one of the things, like, what is going on? Why are we really here? Because they realize, like, they're not going anywhere. They're going, if anything, they're going further away from New York City. And the mobster's like, oh, Tombstone lied to you guys. We were not trying to find Mr. Negative's safe or whatever. We are trying to find the Fountain of Youth.
Okay.
What is that? What's going crazy? That makes no sense. So eventually what ends up happening is all these mobsters get picked off, and Black Cat, confronts Morbius, but there's this mutual truth, and we find out that Morbius takes Black Cat to where the center is, and we see an abandoned broken boat, and we see that Morbius was actually just like in the original comics, this old guy. He's been living in New York for a long time, and he was originally the first vampire. He's where that myth came from. And we see that in the old boat that's abandoned, and we see like a bunch of homeless people, but they're not regular homeless people, but like kind of like this vampire-ish people, but a lot more weaker. It's like a lot more, what do you call it? They can't stand on their own, but they're still vampires. They're afraid of the light and stuff like that, all the things. And we see that all these people are coming here, all these homeless people, all these people that are sick, they're terminally ill, have been coming to this center to get healed by Morbius, to be turned into vampires. And so that's where the myth of the Fountain of Youth, where these people have been living for hundreds of years, but they can't be away from that source. They can't be too far away. They can't go back up to the surface because they'll die. The only way for them to live is for them to stay at this place. So in the end, what I want to happen is this giant clash between Morbius and Black Cat, with Stiltman and the Wheel teaming up. I think that'd be hilarious with a bunch of mobsters. They're fighting, and yeah. And basically, that's kind of how it ends. And I kind of want there to be a sequel where there's a whole nother generation of vampires, and that's how they start coming up to New York City and start hunting and start fighting. And yeah, I really want to introduce, like, I feel like that's Marvel's only way. Like, hey, introduce us to some stupid Marvel like villains, because that's all you have, and have real fun time. If you could make a Suicide Squad movie fun with random, like Quiltman and random super villains, you could do the same, Sony. Any questions, David?
Yes. So
it's a lot.
It is a lot. It is a lot.
Yeah.
For Morbius, you say he's been there for a long time. Like, how old is this guy? How old is he?
I don't know. We'll say like 1600s.
1600s. So how did he get his powers?
Oh, same stupid story of like, oh, this dumb guy, very acclaimed scientist from England. He tried to do an experiment in the sea. It crashed in the United States, and I don't know.
In the 1600s.
I'm sure they did whatever. Maybe he escaped from Europe, and that's how the story came.
All right.
Try to find out. It doesn't matter. I want it to be established. I don't want to see his origin story. It doesn't matter. He's a vampire. That's literally nothing special about him. I want his face to look regular. He doesn't need to have that vampire face. I don't think anyone's gonna fight me for that.
Gotcha. That in your future movies, is there any plans? If you were so no Spider-Man, no Blade or anything.
No, I want to make a movie where Spider-Man doesn't have to be in it. He should be in it. I think the only way for Sony to do what they want to do is make a good movie. Like, the animated movies are the only thing that's good.
It is.
And like, if you make a good enough film, I feel like Marvel's like, yo, let's do something. Like, hey, have the vampires come up to New York City from Morbius. You could have a Blade movie come up, and that will explain a lot.
All right. I mean, for me, I really love the direction you're going with this. Like with the C-list villains and all that Suicide Squad feel, that horror genre. But I feel like it's kind of missing something. I feel like
I don't know how to end it.
I feel like there's like, for these guys, there's what is that life or death? I feel like at any point they could just be like, screw it, let's get out of here. I'm not doing this anymore. But there's no like life or death situation. Like, I gotta do this. I gotta keep doing this. I gotta do it.
What's keeping Black Cat from helping them?
Yeah, I mean, like things like that.
She's a good guy.
Man.
Help me, David. Make it better. I can't. I don't know. This movie broke me.
It is tough to try to do this. I like that idea though. I like him being established already. He's already been there. Like, he's like a pro vampire, I guess.
He's done it for hundreds of years. He's protecting these people. He's
the father of all vampires.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but I don't know if I could give you the green light for this one.
Oh, you jerk.
Only just because of the fact like that, it just felt like there's something missing there at the end, like you said.
It does. I don't know. I don't know how to end movies.
Yeah,
it's hard.
There's no like. I felt like there was no weight to the whole thing. There's no like life or death situation for these guys where
if they don't help these vampires, they're all gonna die. These people.
But why do they need to care about these vampires? Why do these villains?
They're people.
But they're villains. They don't care about these.
Maybe there's money there. They can't use it down there. So yeah, whatever.
I think.
Yeah, no, you're right. I should have given them a stronger motivation.
Yeah, I think that was one thing that's kind of bugging me. But otherwise, the concept of it, your idea for it, and all of the idea, like using those C-list actors, I think it's so great. I think bringing them into this Marvel world is what it needs, because which is kind of like what Marvel is doing with all these TV shows and that. But like, I feel like the ones that you introduce, I think it's a good direction for. And then also, yeah, like I said, Morbius being an established character, he's already done this for centuries. He's been here. I think it's really good. Lets him really gives you the opportunity to really show all of his real powers and what he has.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
and we'll give him the same powers that Morbius had. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's just Kamehameha bats and everything like that.
David, is this better than the movie that we saw, the Jolly movie? My pitch. You have to think about it, you jerk.
Yo, it's better in the sense of I think it'll be more fun, but like I said, that ending is
I'm mad.
It's not there. It's not there.
I'm done. I'm done. Find a different co-host. Whatever.
Hey man,
you're not wrong. This movie broke me, David. I'm done.
Yes. So
my stomach hurts from drinking all these bags.
I'm sorry, Richard. This one, okay. Whatever. I could not give you the green light for this one. You were on such a good streak with me.
I know.
But yeah, this.
I'll think about it. Maybe I'll think of a better pitch next time with it.
Oh, should we do
You're
like
right. Why would the villains help? That doesn't make sense.
Should we do a repitch of the repitches?
No, that's not terrible. But David, we ran way over time.
Okay.
Where can our great listeners, whatever,
viewers and listeners, hey.
Yeah. Where can they find us, man?
Hey, you guys can always find us on our Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. Just look for Repitch Podcast. And as always, shoot us your thoughts. Did you like this repitch? You didn't like it? You guys have any ideas for new repitches or any other movies that you think we should review? Shoot us an email
and tell David he's wrong because my pitch is great.
Yes, tell me that I'm wrong, or tell me that I'm right. Whatever you want. Just shoot us an email at repitchpodcast@gmail.com. And as always, a big shout out to our friend Joe Yoo for helping us out with the sound editing, Mr. Pandemix.
And guys, thank you so much. If you haven't listened to it, listen to our last Monday's episode because we did a really interesting episode where we went down the WikiLeaks
something new.
Black hole. Yeah. And to end this episode with a quote from this movie, gosh, I cannot believe they made this movie. I am hungry and you don't want to see me when I'm hungry.
Oh my gosh, I forgot that was the line. That's the first line that got me too.
It's such a bad line. But yeah, we'll see you guys later.
Yep. See you.